going to do our Zazen, which is seated Zen. Doesn't mean meditation, as my professor correctly pointed out. Meditation is something else. You have meditations. You have meditations in more on the west end of Silk Road, the Greeks, early Christianity, actually, let's say Middle Ages Christianity. You had meditations that purposely involved the use of the intellect and the use of reason to achieve proximity to the way. You're thinking about something, you're using reason. We use reason all the time. It's a kind of confirmation aspect to your practice, but it's not the bulk of your practice. Okay? Even when the Greeks used reason as part of their technology of self, it was meant in that capacity. It's only as Europe moved into the Enlightenment and thinkers like Descartes that you had this prioritization of reason. But originally, reason is just a confirmation exercise. So you had meditations on things. What you were looking for was acts of contradiction or hypocrisy, because that measures distance from the way. You can do it here, you can't do it there. You're probably not doing it over here like you thought. So for example, in the Kokyu set, in exercise 1, the standing meditation, what do you really know? By what means are you confirming whether yang qi is being internalized through your body and going to the ground? You have none. I recently shared a post by Mike Sigmund, and he's talking about the boat rowing exercise. We talked about this already on Patreon, and we pointed out how no one was doing it like O-sensei. And one of the main differences is that they would emphasize the forward movement to the point where the back foot was ungrounded, whereas O-sensei is emphasizing the rearward movement, bringing energy, yang energy, down onto the back foot. In our Kokyu set, we work with that. The Kokyu set is a kind of, in the same way that the standing meditation has really no confirmation exercise to let you know whether you're bullshitting yourself or not. The Kokyu set is the same way with the boat rowing exercise. If you know how to do it like O-sensei, it works. But if you don't know what you're doing, you're probably going to bullshit yourself to such a degree that you ultimately change the form, like Terry Dobson did, but 2 feet in front of his teacher. So in the boat rowing exercise, you're learning how to bring yang qi onto the back foot, grounding the back foot, internalizing grounding. But you can bullshit yourself. So in our Kokyu set, drills 1 through 7 are confirmation exercises akin to how reasoning works, to spot, can you do it or can you not do it? Are you doing it? Are you not doing it? They're confirmation exercises, and your practice has to have these confirmation exercises. So for example, in drill 2, where you're standing in place, you're grounding uke's energy on the back foot. But you can do that, right? Our metric for you doing that or not is only, did you get pushed over or not? Did you feel muscle tension in you or not, you see? Now some muscle tension is visible, that's obvious, and the teacher can spot that. But other muscle tension, like your bicep right? Your biceps getting tired, or even your mental tension, you running a bunch of thoughts in your head. That is not so visible to the teacher, and it's easily deniable by you. So we go to the next exercise, and the next exercise, and eventually we're on exercise 7, where you don't have a back foot. Your feet are side by side. If you were grounding, it doesn't matter that your feet are side by side. If the yang qi was being internalized and vectored down, you don't need a back foot. In fact, you don't even need midfoot, which eventually we will get to. But if you were doing it wrong all the way up to 7, you can't do 7. You just can't. Those are confirmation exercises. And when you can't do 7, we realize you weren't doing drill 1, you weren't doing drill 2, and so on and so on and so on. Reason works like that. But it has the underlying assumption, not doing it here, not doing it there. That this is how the old ancients used reason. If you look at what Sigmund was saying, he's going to do the boat rowing exercise, and he is going to use a bag, you see. He's going to do a bag to get a sense of it. Why? Because doing it in the air is just too easy to bullshit. The bag is really no difference from drills. What do we have there? 3, probably 3, 4, 5. Uke is the bag. But we go one further with 6 and 7 and take away the back foot entirely. Okay? Those are confirmation exercises. Why do you need them? Because we'll bullshit ourselves. It's interesting, there was a recent podcast, I'll share it. But I think it was Adam Meisner's teacher that eventually moved away from the solo exercises. And well, why? Because I would say it's because of this. So even here, we do have drill 1, standing. I tell you to do it. I tell you I do it all the time, right? I give you time in here to do it. But most of the time is spent paired exercises because there's less chance of self-deception, okay? That's what's going on there. We're going to do Zazen. It's not a meditation. And we can sit on the cushion and be bullshitting ourselves. Many, many ways, okay? So let's get a context for it so you understand it. The first premise you have to hold is your practice is a way, and it must include these stillness exercises. It must. You can't just do Kihon Waza. And you can't be so naive, you know, when Stanley Pranin was writing everything on Aikido Journal. And not that he went and researched everything like anybody else. You kind of just work within your well. And so he had some friends, and he went to his friends, and these friends got published, and now these friends are experts. And they'll comment on East Asian history, East Asian religious culture, and now modern Aikidoka read all these guys and think they know what they're talking about. So there was and still is a naive statement that they uttered, which is Zen is, O Sensei was against Zen. and thereby don't do Zazen. This is just bullshit. Even any statements uttered by O-sensei could equally be bullshit. But the distinction of Buddhism in these kind of strict schools, it just didn't happen. Shinto itself, which they would advocate, or they were advocating esoteric Buddhism itself, they also had moments of sitting in stillness. So to say, I don't do Zazen because Aikido is not Zen, you're just full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about. Your practice must include silence and stillness exercises. Just like your practice must include the 4 disciplines. You cannot. You must include your devotional practices. It must include your action practices, your karma yoga and your bhakti yoga. It has to include it. So, why? Here's why. These are not psychological ailments or struggles like we moderns like to think they are. These are cosmic struggles. They precede you, they're beyond you, and they will go past you. And you're stuck in the middle. And you will either be a casualty of those struggles, or you can survive those struggles. These struggles, to keep it simple, is the struggle of Aikin Kokyu, communion and separation, fear and love, the infinite and the finite, the immaterial and the material. These forces have energy and inertia, and they will work upon you. You will be taken by them. It's just a matter of time. What the way is okay, that's my reality. That's what I have to live in, exist in. How do I not become a casualty of it? Along human history, you have all kinds of ways that people dealt with that. You had, for example, your Satanists. They're like, I'm going to learn how to manipulate all this materiality. On the other side, you have what you see in what Tolstoy rightly pointed out in that latest book recommendation. You have a pseudo-Christianity that's trying to do good with good. It's no different than in your Aikido, right? You're going to make yourself super, super strong, try to be stronger than everyone, and you're just going to overpower everyone. You're going to yang clash all over the place. Or you're going to come over here and you're going to be this little pacifist, weak sauce person that has some pseudo morality of nonviolence. In the latest clip on the Good Tai Chi essay, there's a part where the Aikidoka woman is doing Yonkyo. And she says, like, I can move him anywhere. I can move him here, I can move him there. But let's be nice. I'll throw one forward, I'll throw one back. as if you could throw people nicely to the ground. That's the same hypocrisy that Tolstoy is noting in the pseudo-Christianity that says, let's go kill for God in the Christian armies. So you had those. But somewhere in human history, in places, you have wisdom, which is, you know what? There's no way. If I play one side, eventually I become the other side and vice versa. So I play the pacifist, nonviolent person. Eventually I start throwing people thinking I'm nonviolent. One thing goes to the other because they're forces. They contest each other. And as you're one thing, you're fueling the other. There's an inertia to it. You've been taken by it. So the wise said, I have to figure out how to not have this dichotomy. That is the way. Using reason, people figured out how to reconcile the paradox of choice. And the answer is no self. Self gives rise to the two. So in Tolstoy's book, he talks about Jesus' first commandment is, thou shalt not resist evil. Now left there, you're like, what the hell? But soon you're going to have to ask, how do I do that? Because at first you're going to say, all right, I guess I just let everything happen. You want to rape me, go ahead. And you go on and you go on, you see. But it sows trauma in you, and bitterness in you, and anger in you, and rage in you. Now, the gospel doesn't go on to say, hey, Jesus, check, got it, how? It just cuts to the chase. We know what we know about the ego tripartite mind. It works to reify the self. It constitutes a behavioral spectrum of attraction and avoidance. This I want, this I don't want. Everything you want is everything that's good, that you like. You see in air quotes here. So everything you don't want is not good, is evil. This is a confirmation exercise. You're going to do something to me that at first my ego tripartite mind is going to measure for good or evil. Do I like it? Do I not like it? Is it reifying myself or is it not reifying myself? If I have no self, you can't do evil to me. That's the part not in the gospel. It's the same as if I have a strong sense of self, when you attack me, I feel attacked. When I don't, when I release the self, when I reconcile the self, when I deconstruct the ego tripartite mind, I don't experience any of your movements as an attack. They're just movements. And I can move freely in response. I don't have a stress response. There's no muscle tension. There's no will to power, so there's no yang-yang clashing. In Buddha here, we want you to eventually get to that level. we're going to have you attack you and see if you can maintain no self. In Jesus, he's saying, let people do evil to you, see if you can do it. These are confirmation exercises. But we don't start you there. And you can't start there either with Jesus. You need all these other exercises. Sitting still, devotional, karma yoga, all these other exercises, the 4 disciplines where you are making micro releases of reconciling the self. Because you're a beginner. Don't start at high stress. Start at low stress. Work within cultivation fields, not application fields. So when you come to Zazen, let's know what we're doing. Let's figure out what we're doing. You might not be able to do it, just like the standing meditation, or just like Kokyu exercise 2. But you have to start there. And you're better off trying it than being easily taken by those cosmic forces that are working upon you while you're not trying it. So the first thing you want to do in Zazen is not make it a meditation. The second thing you want to do is not make it a relaxation drill. It's not about relaxation. It's not about taking a break from all the shit in your life. However, it may have to be. Just like it's better you're doing a bracing angle in exercise 2 than you're on the couch eating your potato chips, watching Netflix, or scrolling through Facebook. Do you get it? You're better off, but it's not right. So you may have been living your life a certain way, where you come to Zazen and you're like, I need a break, and you're going to use it as a break. Meaning you're in just no condition to do the work that needs to be done. It's beyond you, the way an attacker would be beyond you, or the way do not resist evil is beyond you. Okay? If you're in that case and you're that way, what do you have to do? You have to get your 4 disciplines going. If they're not going, eventually those cosmic forces are going to take you. You cannot do these exercises. Do not justify it by saying, oh, Sensei was against Zen. This is stupid. Fuck oh, Sensei. So, this is very much like a prolonged session of the standing meditation or the standing exercise. I gotta stop saying that word. The standing exercise, which means there is an energetic component. So before you start, as we did already, I want you to loosen up, warm up, okay? And I want you to understand some things. What I'm going to do, just like in the standing exercise 1, is I'm going to allow the nature of these cosmic forces to assist me. Using the Chinese names, Heaven Qi, by design, is going to press down. Earth Qi, by design, is going to push back on it. what I have to do is allow my materiality, which is earth chi, to not push on it here, but to let it come in to me. So toward that end, just like in the standing, I will first work to align myself so that gravity is working with me and I am not fighting gravity. Now, I'm going to use gravity to begin the non-contesting of heaven chi. So I align my body so that I can relax and that my skeletal alignment can remain organized and the flesh, the tissues, can feel releasable and they will start to descend. Do you understand that? Your level might be a constant scanning of muscle flexion, just like at the beginning of the standing exercise or any of the other Kokyu exercises. Okay? So, check your posture. You know where your head goes, your shoulders, everything like that. Okay? So that it can just relax, I can release. The skeletal system will remain organized, and I can let all the other tissues start to drop. Okay? You may have to do that the whole time, depending where you're at, because tension will constantly creep in, because you've been living that way. Do you understand that? So, meaning, your whole Zazen session at the beginning, right? We already said at the beginning it might just be take a break, man. But a little bit more, it could very well be you're just going to make sure your ears and your shoulders and your chin and the crown of your head and the lumbar region is all in proper place. Do you get it? And or combined with release the tension, release the tension, release the tension. It just might be that. Again, you're much better off doing that than anything else you might be doing if the world is taken. But once you can do it, just like some of you can do the Aikido Kokyu, you can't even use, because you have that in your body, you can use that experience. So for example, you know how someone is going to come in, you know what it feels like. They press on me and drill 7. They press on me and then they go back out. They press on me and it goes back out. Okay? And you know what that feels like. You can get rid of now the hands up, the movement of the hands. You're just doing it, the feeling, re-experiencing the body memory of that feeling. And you can bring that into this very posture. Okay? You could do that too. And it should feel exactly the same because it is the same. Okay? In Zazen, you have mudra work, which is proof positive that it's not a therapeutic mental thing, that it is energy work. Otherwise, no need for mudras. There's no need for mudra. You see, mudras are all about the empirical derived value given to this part of our hands. It's why we have the movements in Aikido that move this energy. Okay? So you have mudra work. Your mudra work is also indicative that what you're trying to do here is reconcile these two cosmic forces. You have your separating Kokyu forces into thumbs. and you have your adhesion forces in the fingers. Kokyu, Aiki. And so it should touch that way. Your hands should touch, your thumbs should touch with the same yang qi rebounding energy. So he pushes on me, you see, and that same yang qi descending force is what's keeping it in place. If I go to a positive yang value, you'll see the displacement. That is how they touch. You got it? This hand here touches with the same adhesion. Do you understand? Okay? And like Kokyu and Aiki and Kihon Waza, they work off each other. So you can't just work your hands, your Aiki without Kokyu, and so they feed each other. And so you should feel the energy of the thumbs making the adhesion. Do you understand that? But in the middle, you have the Zhangding, neither Aiki nor Kokyu. So, it's not that I am keeping the shape. I'm doing the internal work. I'm rebounding the energy into my hands, and that shape is kept. Okay? So if I'm doing this stuff and it gets weak, do you see that? Which often happens. I'm not doing the internal work. I'm probably just relaxing. Okay? But if I'm here like this is all external. Got it? Just like bracing angle and drill 2. So maybe you can get there. Maybe you can't. If you are not feeling the internals, just leave your hands here. You're working on releasing. You get it? Releasing the tissues, maintaining the skeletal organization, and releasing the tissues. Releasing tissues. In fact, it's not a bad idea. Maybe we'll do it today. You're going to go from, you're warming up, you're stretching and loosening, getting ready for what you're doing now, letting go of whatever you were doing, okay? Starting anew if you had to. You fucked up last night or all week. Starting anew today, right now. You're going to warm up, and then we'll come here, and you'll just work on the tissue hanging, okay? And then, if you're ready, you'll come back. If at this point you don't feel ready, go right back to this. It's perfectly fine. Okay? You guys understand that? Okay. So the mudra, if you can keep it, is a confirmation exercise. So do you see how I did that? You see that? That's a different shape. It's a shape that happens because I just have an external, and eventually one of them's going to give. So you have an external yang-yang clash, the universe is going to harmonize, something's going to go yin. Okay? The tips had to go yin. But if you're doing this energetically, tasking yourself with this, with the same energetics, you will feel a strong pull and a tension-free pressing in the thumbs. Okay? Do you understand? Okay. With this Wuji state or this Zhangding, yin and yang are reconciled. A mind phenomena happens. Your ego tripartite, all your intellect, your consciousness, all your thinking, it will descend. And when it descends, now there's no thoughts in your mind. Because you're not rational. You're not doing that. You're not that busy mind. You see that? It's the same thing in Jiu-jitsu. If you're doing Jiu-jitsu, your mind's not doing this, your eyes aren't doing this. Do you see? It's the same thing here in a more controlled cultivation field. So this is why they say there should be no thought. You don't get no thought by thinking no thought. You only get no thought by the ego tripartite mind descending, deconstructing, not driving the bus. Okay? So if you're feeling your thoughts, it's a confirmation exercise. You're not doing the energetic work. Go back to the energy work. Right? The beginner stuff. Just let the flesh hang. Let the mind, who cares? You're thinking, right? But think about skeletal organization, tissue dropping. Okay? Any questions on this? Okay? Make sure you have a good base. Because we're using gravity, I myself am not a strong advocate of laying down. It doesn't work as well. Okay? Not for beginners. The more unstable your base is, your body doesn't want to let go because of the fear of falling. Okay? So make sure you're stable. Lotus, half lotus, Seiza, pretty good. Okay? But they go down. They go down in stability. Okay? Seated if you have to, but it's not so easy. Okay? There's also things you're doing with your legs that happens in lotus and half lotus that doesn't happen in Seiza. Okay? We know from our training that the legs are freaking hard to get to release. Okay? And again, if we understand these as cosmic forces and not like psychological theories, the crossing of the legs leads to a kind of anatomical confusion to the ego tripartite mind. And it kind of just goes, fuck it. Okay, so what I mean by this is as you cross parts of your body, your mind has a difficult time understanding right and left, for example. Do you see? And as it has that difficult time understanding that, it's more likely to just let go of it, even incorrectly. So it might go, like for right now, to be honest, I have to think about it to know which foot was that, because I've been in the half lotus for a while now. Okay, that happens. You have a lot of exercises where you do this with your hands. You see, you do stuff like this, and you will eventually, I don't know which fingers are right or which fingers are left. Sometimes there's even kids games. So there's pictures of both senseis in these mudras. But there were kids games, right? You remember those? And you would go, move, you have your friend do this, or you have your friend do this, right? And you go, move that finger, and they move a different finger. Do you see? That's what's happening here. And you don't quite get that in Seiza, but you do get the releasing part of it, okay? And as you go into seated, more and more that goes away, but it's not necessary, it's just helpful, okay? If you are seated, make sure your feet are on the ground so that you have that sense of security. Okay? Any questions or comments on Zazen? All right, so we'll warm up a little, loosen up because you've been sitting. Let go of the day. You're here. It's day one. This is what you're doing. And then we'll go into this one, okay? And then we'll go into this one, okay? So I'll ring the bell. That's when you'll go on your cushion and you'll go to this one. And then I'll ring the bell in a little while after that, and you'll try to form the mudra energetically. If not, stay where you are. You could try it and go back to it, okay? Many a day, I just do this one. Okay? Oh yeah, I should add Burmese is good too. Burmese as a seated posture is good. All right, so what if you get there, and what you're doing then in the end is energetic work. It's mudra work, okay? You're gonna let the mudra, you work the mudra, okay? You don't try to not think, you don't try to relax, you don't try to concentrate. You work the mudra, and the mudra concentrically pulls that ego tripartite mind down and apart. Okay, do you guys understand? So that's what you're doing here. This is also why it's placed at the lower Tanden level. The mudra pulls the mind down. Okay, when the mind gets down there, it has these two forces reconciled with that neither nor state in between, and you just work the mudra. No more thinking, no more concentrating, no more talking, no more relaxing. It's energetic mudra work. Okay, do you guys understand? Okay, how do you work it? Same way you work it with the uke. Same exact way. It's the same exact thing. Okay? Any questions or comments? Or observations? Yes?
I felt that I was acquiring tension in my shoulder, and at that same time I was feeling like I was losing the Aiki in the mudra.
Yeah.
At that point, I tried to release, but I couldn't feel that cohesion, so I just went back to
Yes, and that's what your teacher said to do. Okay, so you're feeling tension in there, it'll show up in the mudra work, because the mudra is formed energetically, just like if he's pushing at me, you see, and you feel that, you see, you're not at the energetic level, whereas you're here like this. Or he's pushing really hard and I'm not affected by this at all. It's not in my musculature, so to speak, do you see? And so my voice doesn't change, my movement doesn't change or anything like that. It shows up in the mudra, okay? So if you go to here and now you're trying the mudra work and you're like, no, it's not freaking working. Go back to the other one, okay? So for example, if you're trying to do drill 7 of the Kokyu set and you're constantly being projected, off, you can't do the drill. Should you keep trying to do drill 7?
No.
No. Go back to drill 1, drill 2. Now try to do them with the failure awareness and the failure points of 7 in mind, but you go back to drill 1 or 2. So same thing here. Once you realize it's not there, it could also be, as I told you, I can't stop thinking. Okay, it's not there then because the mind is up here, the mind is not down here. So go back to the other one, which is basically drill 1. Do you see? Go back to drill 1 and just let the tissues fall. Okay, let the tissues fall. Now, you might be in such a state, I can't. Okay, but you're now not eating chips and scrolling through Facebook, so you're better off. Go back then to the bedrock practices and the 4 disciplines. Get those going, okay? And that's how you work this as a practice, as a way. It's much better to do what you did. Go back to this, because 1, you're doing what your teacher said, which is your bhakti yoga, okay? And 2, you're not deceiving yourself with this bullshit of I'm doing Zazen and you're like thinking or relaxing or doing mind filling stuff, okay? So, did you have more? Yes.
how do you process when you're in Zazen? How do you process pain in the body?
So pain is a material thing. It's a thing of yin chi. It's a thing of fear, okay? And when the self is released, it's going to sound weird, but there's no pain. Okay? The body does not feel the pain. And that too is a sign of whether you're able to release the self or not. Okay. So you guys know that I've been battling this kind of back thing that's been there for a while, but you also know once I get on the mat and someone touches me and I'm doing my stuff, there's no sign of it. So all those videos we've been doing, there's no sign of it, you see, because once we're pairing, we're doing the energetic work, I'm in a no self state. I don't feel the pain, okay? You also know that recently we've been foregoing Zazen because we have, this is hard. To me, Zazen, like the standing exercise, they're foundational doesn't mean that they're the easiest ones to do. They're the hardest ones to do. Why? Because you can bullshit so easily, okay? So we've been foregoing that, even skipping, not spending much time on the standing exercise, drill 1, and working drill, right, 2, 3, 4. We're working at the other drills where there's more confirmation. Okay, so last Saturday we dedicated to you, and it was way confirmation high. Do you see that? Okay, so, but my own body mind is like, fuck, I'm running out of time and I can't do my work. So today, this whole week, the injury's been so bad. I think you saw me the other day when I couldn't even really walk after class, that I'm like, we're doing Zazen today. So I put myself here, okay? And then my teacher responsibilities were that I put it on tape. Okay, so here I am. I have a pain response. I recognize it as a yin chi block of heaven chi. It's a materiality emphasis. It's a matter, inertia that I'm caught in. And so I'm going to come to the hardest drill and release that. And so I don't have the pain right now. So same thing, if there's a pain in my knee or a pain in my foot, if you go to the no self, the pain just stops. It doesn't necessarily mean the injury's gone, but the pain signaling definitely stops, okay? And you can use that as well. So let's say you're in your posture and you can't separate the self from what you're doing right now, then same way as I would go to a less stress-inducing environment. Okay, so I can't sit in Seiza. All right, do standing. Do you see? Do you get what I'm saying? I can't stand for 40 minutes. Okay, don't stand for 40 minutes. Stand for 20 minutes. Do you see what I'm saying? Just like this is beyond my skill level, because what I'm doing here is the energetic aspect of release. Okay? Because release is a skill. If I can't do it at this level, then simplify your environment and take more stress out. Likewise, at the higher Buddha levels, you attack you. Do you see that? If we're failing right away and all it's producing is self-reification and self-attachment, don't do that. Do something where it's not doing that. What do? Simplify and de-stress the environment, okay? Because complication and stress is the trigger of self. Why? Because it's fear. Do you see? It's fear. It's that cosmic energy, okay? Non-contestation, why I say it's a skill, and it's the skill of release, is just getting these energetic forces in order so that I'm not subject to, even good or bad, I'm not subject to them, okay? Too many times we think it's a psychological thing, and hence we could think about non-contestation, you see? Or we could think about self-release and feel that we're going to be able to do it in the world, right? Not just in Zazen, but we're going to do it in the world. Bullshit. No, you're not going to be able to. Okay? Because the thinking is the self that is contesting. The seed of contestation is the self. So you can't do it thinking. You have to do it energetically. Okay? That's your bridge between spirit and body. The energetics. Zazen is energetic work. Thereby, don't do an environment that you can't get rid of thinking. That's not going to work. Okay? And environments that are complicated or you experience as highly stressful, you're not going to release in those environments. You're going to attach in those environments, which is why we use those environments for advanced training. Do you see? We want to see. We know that environment is going to trigger self-attachment. Let's see if you can hold self-release. That's its only purpose. Okay? So, feeling that? Let's come back. Come back, right? How far back? Oh, like I said, you might have to go back to your bedrock practices and your 4 disciplines, which you should always be doing. Okay? All right, any other questions or comments? Okay, so just as I'm managing in the mudra, the Kokyu and Aiki, here I'm doing the same. Okay, so there's the Aiki in the grip, which I always say. There's the Aikis right here, just like my hands right here in the mudra. And there's the Kokyu too, and you're pushing on me. Do you see that? I can't just do that. Okay, so it's your special day because you have all that tension in you. Okay, so doesn't matter, as I said, it doesn't matter how I stand. I don't have to stand in Shizentai, and I don't have to sit in Zazen. And we don't want to. These are cultivation fields. Eventually, I want to be able to move and still get the Kokyu. Do you understand that? Okay? So, just because I'm in Hanmi, nothing changes. Okay? We simplify it because I'm on one foot, the back foot. And I make sure that I feel the adhesion. Make sure you feel that. That's why sometimes I tell you don't close your grip too, because I can tell that none of you are feeling the adhesion. You're contesting at the palm, okay? So that's why I have you, so if you push, you see, we're not going anywhere. I'll take it off and you'll see that you can start slipping, you see? So I have to match that, okay? It doesn't matter because your hands are closed. I don't take advantage of you holding me. I match the palm, okay? So you even lightened it a little, and you can see that I kind of pressed into it to get that equal yang value, okay? And then everything releases in my body, just like in Zazen. It's starting to slip, so I'm going to add it. Okay, there it is again. Okay, got it? All right. Now, something happened here, which is very common. You're suffering from contagion. So stay there, please. Don't do anything different. Don't do anything different. And let go of me. And let's see how good you guys are. I said he's suffering from contagion. What should have happened if he didn't do anything different and he let go of me? He should have come forward because he's spinally displacing. Okay? So, Uke has a role. This, okay? But as you felt me released, you released. Okay? So don't do that. You don't want to be Jedi mind trickable, okay? So you're here, you should be here. Okay? Even though you felt me relax, you don't relax. Okay? So that's what I'm feeling. And now you're a triggering aspect, you see? But you're also yang aspect. That if I get triggered, I will block out. You see? I'll do this, tension in my body. And I don't want to do that. You're yang. I don't contest it at the surface of my body. I let it go in. And I'm working the mudra here. Okay? This is both Aiki and you were not coming forward, Kokyu. Okay? and I work the same energy work. Just like before, you'll feel the tanden. You should feel the tanden fill. You'll feel the mind drop. And the tension goes away. All pain goes away. And because of how I've cast myself, the back midfoot should feel as if it's compressing. Down like someone is stepping on my foot is what it feels like. And you push, and I can just keep releasing the same exact way as in Zazen. I'll feel my tissues drop, in other words. I'll feel my mind, you went contagion again, and you're fatiguing, right? Which you can tell, like, that should happen because you're working and I'm not working, okay? But that's what we're trying to do. So let's get this closer to Zazen work, and Zazen work closer to this work, okay? All right, let's try it. Okay, so first you take all your yin chi, all your materiality, and it drops onto the back midfoot. Okay, not the back heel. So you're too straight because the midfoot is forward of the heel. You're gonna have to cant a little. Okay, got it? Does everyone understand that? So here's my midfoot on that cross there. Okay? Got it? Okay? And I'm going to shift my body straight. I'm back like this, and I'm standing up. Do you guys see that? My weight is on my heel. Okay? To put it on the midfoot, I have to bring my body forward. Do you see that? Okay, now a lot of time, and you're thinking this, you're thinking, come off the front foot, and now you're over this foot. Do you see that? Okay, and the front foot's not weighted, but I'm not midfoot weighted. Okay, so I have to go into the midfoot here. Here's coming off the front foot. You see that? You're gonna push, and I'm gonna feel it in my heel, okay? And I'm gonna need some tension here to keep that heel weight there. Got it? Now I look like you. I do come off the front foot, but that's not what I told you. I want you to put your weight on the midfoot, okay? So weight's on the midfoot, and you can see that cants now. I'm gonna go back to your posture. So I sit up straight, and I'm on the heel. Do you get that? Okay, now if I just relax, I'm gonna fall at this back diagonal, because it's on my heel. If you pay attention, here I am. When you push, that's what I'm fighting. I have to fight, you're gonna pay attention, you're like, try to keep this integrity here, okay? So, start with the exercise, midfoot. And this is the beginning of the rowing, you see? The beginning of the rowing, right? The rowing exercise, it goes on to the midfoot. So, we're like, simplify this, just put your own weight on the midfoot, and then we'll test, are you midfoot or not? Do you understand? That's all we're doing. Okay? So, here we go. We start with you first. And forget about uke. Your exercise is to get all your weight right there. Just put your own weight there. Okay? Not get it off your heel more. There you go. Let it just sink. All your tissues drop on it. Everything drops just like in Zazen. Everything. Let it release. Let this arm release to that midfoot too. It brings you up. It brought you up. There. Kokyu in the grip. Aiki in the palm. And then the yang energy, you let follow your own materiality onto that foot. Okay? Don't. Every time you inhale, you lose the kokyu. Okay? And this is one reason why it's not right. The literal translation of kokyu is breath. However, breath to the ancients did not mean what we mean by breath. Okay? So that's why I don't want you to change anything than the physical instructions right now. Okay? Don't do what all modern tells you. So just breathe. No, don't breathe if it's going to change the physical instructions. Do you see? Hold your freaking breath if you have to. Breathe more shallowly. Don't go abdominal breathing. Don't go peaceful thoughts. Don't do anything. Okay? The yang forces is trying to get in. You're going to let it in by removing your chi obstacle. The earth chi is contesting the yang chi. The demonic is contesting right now with the divine. Okay? So get your weight there onto that foot, onto that spot. Okay? Get off your heel. And let it release. And you got to get rid of all this tension. All this is supposed to drop. It's still here. Here. So if I was going to throw you and I wanted to get over the edge of your foot, I'd have to bring you this way, you see? Okay? You're way back here. So get there. Let all this drop there. Then lift your hand, which is going to push on the heaven chi. So you should feel even more weight on that foot with your own hand. Form Lao Gong, the mudra. And now I follow your yin chi. Keep this organization. Don't let your shoulders move. Oh, come on. Hey. Just keep it is what I said. I didn't say do something. Okay? You're still leaning back on me. Bend your knees more. There you go. Stay there. Stay there. Stay there. Stay in this state, just like Zazen. Stay in this state. Keep your hand exactly where it is. Don't let it go left or right, in or out. Neither push nor pull. Neither resist nor overcome. Stay there. Don't change anything. Don't let your shoulder go back. That would change something. Stay exactly like this, even though I'm going to change your mind. Feel my palm more with your wrist. There you go. I just said feel it more. Right. Don't move into me. That would change your arm position. Right. Just feel it more. Bring your mind to where my palm's on your wrist. Good. There you go. That's the Aiki. Bring your mind more to your hand, not going towards your body. Good. There's the Kokyu. Stay in this state. And here is your limit right here. Okay? And what I mean by this is as much yang qi as you able to reconcile. Okay? Or non-contest.
Right.
Okay? Because if I start going a little bit more, see the tension came back. See that? You put your hand out. Okay? So this would be going back to yours. If we go harder, it's going to trigger him more. He's going to contest more, and all we're practicing is contestation. Okay? So you would hang out there. Okay? And we'll do that now. So, and one reason why this is level 2. The only thing to do from here is go to level 1. But level 1 allows for so much bullshitting. Don't go to level 1. Okay? Go to level 2 and have your experienced senpai go, that if I go past this, I can feel your self-contest again. Okay, got it? Okay, so we'll try that. Go. Rodney, you go with Sean, please. Don't push him into self. All right, so we're in the question comment phase. Okay. You can sit down.
I was saying I still feel my calf.
Yeah.
It starts to light up and just burn as if I'm still exerting.
Yeah. So as you descend in your body, just like remember these are I say these are cosmic forces. Okay, they're just aspects of the universe. It is what it is. Okay, your materiality, your matter, is yin. It's that fear force. It's what you. But and again, it's not fear in the sense of psychoanalytical fear. That you got to think broader. It's cosmic. Okay, it's the separation force. You see, separating against what? Against the divine force. That's what it is. Okay, so your materiality is more of that separating force. Okay, and its instinct is to contest. This is why it contests what? The divine state. What is the divine state? No self. You see. Okay. So this is why we can use violence against the flesh, triggers that protection, that contestation act, you see? And so if you are skilled at no self, no violence is going to trigger you. The same way pain, right? Pain and architectural functionability are entirely different. You might break my arm. If I can release self, I won't feel the pain of it. My arm won't work. God, do you guys understand that? Okay, so your materiality is part of that. What's on the other side? And as it goes down the body, it is stronger in its opposition. This is why the yin qi, the opposing, is from below. Got it? Well, my feet are below. My lower legs are below. My glutes are below. Do you understand? And hence, this is why this tissue really houses all your fear. Have you ever done this? Have you ever been driving and you hit some turn and you're like, whoa, you feel like I'm going out of the lane, or maybe any other kind of driving, whoa moment, you'll flex your legs. Your legs have nothing to do with what we're doing right now. You see, I'm not Fred Flintstone and they're going to control the car. But it goes into my legs as well, okay? If you haven't experienced that, check it out. Just notice it next time. Like, I'm flexing my other leg for no freaking reason. This is where fear is the strongest, okay? And if you paid attention while your calf was burning, probably your feet are clenching too. Your feet will clench, okay? A thing we've been working on with you see? So yeah, that is much harder to do. It's much harder to do. And that's why you do it. And it's a skill, so you can't go, got it today and it's gone. No. As we already said, depending on your skill at the 4 disciplines and the bedrock practices, your ability to release is infringed upon. So F up there, you're probably going to do this, right? Maybe last week you lived better, meaning you lived in accordance with your teacher's teaching, and Zazen wasn't so big a deal. But this week you lived like shit, you veered from your teacher's teaching, and now I can't do this. You see? It could have been the Kokyu drill set. Last time I got to drill 7, no problem. This time I can't get past drill 1. You see that? Or last time I sparred okay. This time, fuck, I was triggered as hell. I was contesting in yang clashing all over the place. It's a skill, okay? So you get there, but get there means that you're living the right way so that you can do this, okay? And the more you can do it in situations and environments to the contrary, the more skilled you are. Do you guys understand that? So we had, in that last one with you, it's much better, it's a much more trying environment than Federation Aikido. So for example, you stand up, okay? And I'm the Federite, okay? And this is what I do. You see? So there's no yang aspect to what I'm doing. And then you know whatever you do whatever. I'm going to go wherever. You see? So you can practice in your mind non-contestation, you see? But it's so an unchallenging situation and environment that whatever non-contestation you did, it's at such a low level skill that it's not practical. Do you get what I'm saying? Okay, so you were here, and while not sparring, you see, it was more challenging than Federite Ukemi for me, you see, as Uke. You got it? And so we worked at that level. And then as you get better, we work at higher levels, higher levels, higher levels. What are higher levels? Situations and environments in which that skill is more difficult to hold because they promote self-reification. How? By threatening your materiality, by threatening yourself. You got it? If you look at your resistance to your teacher's teaching, it's all because it's threatening to yourself. That's why you do it. Okay? Take Tolstoy's thing. Why did the church produce a pseudo-Christianity? Because no matter how simple Jesus' teaching was, it was threatening to the self. It could not do it. You see? Well, likewise, you know the 4 disciplines, you know the bedrock practices. Why can't you do them? Because it's threatening to the self. So we don't do it. Okay? Same thing here. You know how to. You could put, if I took everything out and I just said, hey, put your weight on the midfoot. Can you do it? Just put your weight on that midfoot. Put it on the midfoot. Get off your heel. Put it on the midfoot. Get off your heel. Okay, keep going. Keep going. And you see? He has the can. Straighten your back. Straighten your back like you were. And now shift your weight from foot to foot. And where do you feel? More on the heel. Okay? Do you understand that? Okay. So, again, we think it's innocent. I'm telling you it's cosmic. If the way comes to you and tells you, don't do that, until you can release, you will do that. Why? Because the way told you not to do it. This is why what you do is always going to be 180 degrees to what you were told to do. Always. It's not going to ever be 45 degrees. You see, you could have been, for example, in the arch, but you go towards the back of the foot. Why? Because the way told you come to the front of the foot. I'm telling you. Okay? So this is more, for me,
more a sign on that we're not dealing with Freudian psychoanalytical concepts and modern psychology concepts. There's cosmic forces here. You will always push back, resist, contest 180 degrees to what you should not be doing. Okay? So when you take, for example, going back to Tolstoy, and he rightly pulls out the virtue of integrity from the teachings of Jesus, you should not swear. Don't swear an oath on anything, because your word should be enough, because you have consistency between thought, speech, and action. That's how we say that. Do you see? So don't make an oath. And what does the demonic do? Swear on this. Swear on what? On the words of Jesus Christ. Swear on the words that told you not to swear, that you'll do what you say. It could have been anything else, but it can't be, because of the cosmic makeup of the universe, right? We could have said, swear on this lucky statue, swear on this, on the Constitution, but we don't, because the Constitution didn't say that. Jesus Christ said that. And I'm on the other side of that, you see? And so I make a mockery of what it is. That's what happens all the time. That's what happens in Aikido all the time. That is why Aikido is 180 degrees, not 45 degrees. Modern Aikido is 180 degrees opposite of what it is supposed to be. Okay?